2023 is special. This is a milestone year as we celebrate 20 years of God at work, specifically through the ministry of the Food Pantry located on East Sunshine. As we mark its 20th anniversary, we want to share how this ministry has evolved over the years and how it still serves our community in significant ways, both as an extension of Schweitzer Church and Flourish Community Development Corporation. Hi, I'm Bob Cassidy. I was privileged to serve as the lead pastor of Schweitzer Church during the years when the Food Pantry came to life. In the story of Joshua leading the Israelites across the Jordan River, God instructed Joshua to commemorate the occasion by gathering stones together so that when future generations would ask the question, "What do these stones mean?" they would be able to talk about God's faithfulness for 40 years in the wilderness. We're here to talk about God's faithfulness as we commemorate our anniversary as a food pantry this year. The vision began here when Ed Hewlett, a meat cutter, and Roger Tunks, a retired grocer, began to see the need as people walked into the church offices asking for food. So people would receive a sack of groceries or two, and the food would be delivered actually through the door behind me into a very small area. Now, over the years, the pantry began to be used in times of crises. In 2005, when Katrina and Rita hit the southern coast, the pantry served as a resource as we provided food for our relief teams that went down to Mississippi and Louisiana. In 2007, we actually housed 150 people a night from Jordan Valley in our gymnasium. The biscuits and gravy that Ed Hewlett served them every morning for breakfast was so good, people didn't want to leave. In 2009, we faced our greatest challenge as we moved the food pantry and our offices over to this building during the Great Recession. Schweitzer Church gave up a cash cow of $66,000 a year to be able to provide food for this community when it was most needed. One more key crisis that we remember is the epic tornado that hit Joplin in 2011. The very next morning, we loaded up the church that serves truck and brought water and hot dogs to first responders during that crisis. There are many other events and people that we could mention. It was an incredible start of a great ministry. In the midst of serving more and more people, we recognized that people needed more than just food. They needed relationships. And they needed a hand to help them, to support them, to rise up out of the chronic conditions that so limited their lives. In 2012, Pastor Jason Leininger led a Skunk Works team that began to shift in a significant way the food pantry's mission: to share Christ's love while providing emergency food and spiritual support.
When it came around to what was happening in the food pantry, Schweitzer could count up how many people came through the doors to receive food. We could count up how many people were serving. We had an accounting, almost $400,000. It was the value of the food that came into and out of the doors of the food pantry. So we had all of those kinds of things like inputs. But the big question that was happening internally was about how many lives are being transformed. And when that question was put to the food pantry ministry, it's like, we don't know. We put a research and development group together to begin asking that question. What does it look like for Schweitzer to engage the community so that we can see transformation? Not just inputs, not just the generous hearts on our side, but actually see people who come to our campus in a state of need, who find help out of that state of need into a life where they flourish.
As we expanded our operations through this food pantry, we realized the significance that prayer would have for our guests. Lynette Lewis and Linda Harper were placed as leaders of a prayer team that would meet with people and begin to see God at work through prayer.
When Lynette invited me to be a part of the prayer team, I reluctantly said yes. Lynette Lewis is the lady in our church who actually had the vision and the burden for it. Well, I didn't hear from her. And so I thought, good, I'm off the hook. I don't have to do this now. But, you know, God doesn't let us go so easily. So I saw her one day in church and I said, Lynette, if you remember, I signed up for your team to help with pantry prayer, and I would like to do that if you have need for me. And so I signed up, I started. My first time was over in where entrance C is in the main building. That's where the pantry, that's where we greeted our guests. And the food was kept in a little closet in the back somewhere. I never was in the closet. I have no idea where that was, but there was someone to get the food, and then I would offer prayer.
Hi, I'm Karen. I started working in the food pantry right before COVID. I'm here to share with you how I've seen the power of prayer within the food pantry. One day, particularly, a gentleman came in, kind of scruffy looking, in talking to him, he said, well, I was in special forces. I led a bunch of people. And what I need right now is a job, but I have a felony on my record because I just made some mistakes when I got back. I had so much guilt. And I just kneeled and started praying with him, and I said, I'm praying for a job for you. By the next time I see you, you will have employment. And when he left, I almost felt guilty for being so bold. But within 2 weeks, he came back to tell me that he had gone to church the next week, and a gentleman connected him with a man that worked at a lumber yard, and they hired him. And he was going to make $17 an hour, and he was so thrilled. And that just blew me away, that the prayer was so powerful and effective. And it seemed just simple words to pray, but yet for him, it was life-changing.
In the past 10 years, we've expanded the warehouse, navigated worldwide pandemics, invited people into ministry, and served the needs of the city around us. Here we are in 2023 with much history and stories to tell. Maybe you're wondering, who are we actually serving? The answer is simple. We serve the community of Springfield. Within the past 10 years, we've calculated that we have served over 29,000 households and 87,000 guests. Now, here's Camille to share more.
Hi, I'm Camille. If you were to describe the food pantry guests that we see each week, you'd see your typical Springfield neighborhood. We serve adults of all ages. Recently, we ran a survey and we found that 45% of the adults that we see are ages 55 or older, and 70% of them are single. Furthermore, 49% of those adults, they don't have any family living with them in the area. Interestingly enough, 45% of them still have children living with them in the home, and most of them have graduated high school and are in good health. And the majority of them, at 58%, they're not connected to a church home. What that means is that they're not just coming for food, but they're also coming for hope in relationships. Each week as we pray with our guests, we're able to offer them the hope of Jesus Christ, the love of Jesus Christ, and also invite them to a deeper relationship with a church community. Jose is one example of someone who found so much more from the food pantry. Let's hear from Jose.
Hi, my name is Jose Ortiz, and when I first came to the food pantry, I was just eating food, and after that, they did some prayers for me. They prayed for me, and I asked the ladies that was praying for me if I can talk to somebody at the church. They told me, come Sunday. I came that Sunday, and I never left. I started volunteering, and the people that we serve here, are different kind of people, just like me. It's like church all over again, you know, on the pantry, because we do help people, but at the same time we fellowship as a unity every Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So we fellowship too. So that's a big thing. You know, they are like my family.
In addition to helping people come to faith, we've also been very holistic in helping people develop their life skills in programs and ministries such as Jobs for Life and Faith and Finance. The Food Pantry also is a bridge to other organizations doing great work here in the Ozarks. With support from Associated Wholesale Grocers in Springfield, the Food Pantry at Schweitzer is able to pass along food and resources to more than 10 other ministries. 4 of these are located in Springfield, and 6 others are located throughout the southwest Missouri area, all within an hour radius of Springfield, including places like Fordland, Wheaton, and Mount Vernon. Many aspects of the Food Pantry ministry happens behind the scenes. Freddie Lane serves as the Director of Operations. He, along with dozens of volunteers, including Keith Brightup, are the heart and hands of the operation.
Hi, I'm Freddie.
Hi, I'm Keith. We're the guys behind the scenes that help make the Food Pantry run.
In the Flourish Food Pantry, we're creative problem solvers. We can solve any kind of problem that's presented to us.
If I can step back for just a minute and give you a backstory, I was in a Flourish board meeting, and 2 of our board members was talking about truancy and why some of the kids weren't attending school. I was really taken back by the fact that a lot of these kids didn't come to school because they didn't have clean clothes. Well, me and Freddie became aware that we had some detergent that was available to us. When I say detergent, I'm talking about a 250-gallon size container of detergent. So the problem was, okay, we have these detergent, what do we put it in? How do we get it out of there? Well, we did. We figured it out, and we have delivered almost 1,500 gallons of detergent to date. At the end of the day, I can hear those words, well done, good and faithful servant. What a joy it is to serve our guests and to know that we make a difference, not only in their food needs, but in their spiritual lives, as we get an opportunity to pray for each family that come through. And that's the real meat and potatoes of what we do.
Hi, I'm Gracelyn. I am a sophomore in high school. I first started working at Flourish June of 2022, and this kind of just started out as a school thing. I'm in a program at my school that I need 100 hours of volunteer service to meet this requirement, and so that's what kind of Flourish was in the beginning. I'll come every Wednesday, get my 5 hours in, and go home. But I left that first day, and I knew I just wanted to keep going back for as long as I could. I've met my hours, but again, that first day, I left with the feeling of basically a big warm hug. I just see a lot of people that get taken kind of to the back and they just have this long conversation, and you just see people like leaving in tears, and I think that's a big thing that we also help with, is just being there for people, that like emotional side of it. Something small for us is something big for someone else. We take a lot of it for granted, but we're helping these people's lives in a huge way. We're not just food, I think.
What a joy it's been to celebrate these 20 years of ministry in this amazing food pantry. As in Joshua's day, we too need to ask the question, what do these stones, what do these stories mean? They mean that when we step out in faith, following God's lead, amazing things happen. Game-changing events raise people up from chronic conditions to lives that truly flourish. This is a place of healing and hope, and will continue to be for the next generation. Thank you for being a part of this ministry yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.